Welcome to the R is for Retro podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matty J, aka Matty J Mania on YouTube, and along with me are my other hosts, Mike.
Hello, people. I'm Mike, also TPit192 on YouTube. Here's Chris.
Hey guys, I'm Chris with Foulmouth Gamers, also known as Ambu on the channel.
And also joining us today is our very special guest, Luigifreakout123, Tyler and Terry.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you guys?
I'm Luigifreakout123. I'm just more of the sidekick.
That's true.
Sidekick.
I do all the editing
Tyler does everything. I just have to show up.
and buy games.
Tyler's the brains behind the operation. Is that what you're saying?
Our channel's pretty one-sided. He goes, okay, I got everything set up. You want to do the vid? I sit down, we do the vid, and I go, okay, we done? He's like, yeah, we're done. And then he goes and edits, and I do something else.
Nice.
And so I sit down for 5 hours and then boom, a video.
So really, you're the mastermind, Terry, because he's doing all of the tedious work, and
I prefer the name talent. I'm the talent of the operation.
you're the talent. Yeah.
So
Somebody has to be. You're the beauty.
because I'm
You
so
are
old,
far
I
from
do the other
talent.
stuff anyway.
So Terry's the talent and Tyler's the workhorse.
Yes, I am.
So today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics, subjects, things, but mainly just kind of introducing ourselves, getting to know us a little bit, talk about the things we collect, favorite consoles, that kind of thing. So we'll first start with our guests on what we collect. I already kind of know what they collect a little bit just from watching the channel so much, but I will let them tell you.
Well, what we usually do is we collect mainly just Nintendo NES. We are starting to collect 64 now since we're very close to a complete NES set.
How close to that complete NES set are you guys?
We are 3 away, not including the Panesian games and Myriad 61. We're only missing Cheetah Man, Stadium Events, and Menace Beach.
If you don't mind if I interrupt here, so does that mean that you have a particular title that everybody that is collecting for Nintendo obviously wants?
Champions?
No, we do not
Nintendo
have
World
that.
Champions? No? Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
We don't
No,
count
wait,
that in the
wait.
collection.
We consider that not part of the licensed set. That was
Yeah.
something you could just get. So
Besides
Yeah,
the
yeah,
besides
right.
the repo cart.
right, and even then you had to send away for that.
Yeah.
It wasn't something you could buy in a store.
You could buy it
Plus,
like
we
a
can't-
garage sale,
we
I
can't
guess.
afford it.
Yeah, I also am going for a complete Nintendo collection, and as much as I would love to have that game, I don't count that in my count as well.
I mean, everyone would like to have it, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Unless you have 10 or 20 grand lying around that you feel like using.
Yeah.
So
We have a friend that sold one last year for $4,000 and didn't tell us that he sold it.
4,000? That's it?
Yes.
That's it.
Oh my god.
You know the owner of Nintendo Age, I think it's Dane? Yeah, he's the one who got it.
Lucky.
It hurts.
It's crazy that we're talking about how that game at 4,000 is a steal now.
Yeah.
4,000, you could literally just buy just an average car with it.
Yeah.
Or you can get a little gray cart with a Switch on it.
You can't even get stadium events for $4,000 now.
No.
Right.
Ridiculous.
So
Matt can get it for $5 apparently.
I can get it for $5. So you guys mainly collect Nintendo, which you're almost done with. You collect Nintendo 64.
And just
And-
random stuff like that, I guess.
Random weird stuff. You guys do have an awesome amount of just knickknacks and weird things, and it's awesome.
We got an awesome 64 fanny pack, too, that's for sure.
that's one of my favorite things is the pleather 64 fanny pack Maddie sent me years ago or a couple years ago.
I love that you love it because it was going to be doing thing in my house. So
It's
It makes-
awesome.
it makes me happy that it went to a good home.
Oh, it's displayed proudly. When you're here for the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, you'll see it. It's in the main collections.
Nice. It's sitting right next to Little Samson.
And Flintstones, yes, just right in between.
Sandwiched in between them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Chris, let's talk about what you collect.
Let's see. I collect a little bit of everything. To be honest, whether it's Nintendo games or Super Nintendo or Wii, Xbox, PS3, I collect everything. Technically, my main focus right now is Dreamcast. I'm trying to see if I can get certain games for the Dreamcast, even also Neo Geo. I'm in the middle of actually trying to complete my Samurai Showdown or Samurai Spirits, whatever name you want to call it, collection. I'm trying to actually get every single title that was ever made for every console. And that's proving to be a little difficult because as I keep going with the Neo Geo and MVS, or even AAS, they start getting more expensive as the numbers go up. Like if I want to get Samurai Showdown 3 or 4, it's probably going to cost like $100, and it's going to cost $200 to $400 or more. I'm also trying to complete my Resident Evil collection too.
And what about you, Mike? What are you currently collecting?
As of right now, I'm collecting everything. I want to be. I don't want to say I want to be, but what's his name? John Hancock.
That guy
with-
is the
with-
god
with-
of gaming.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
but with the Atari, basically, that's what I want to do. But
Okay.
also Dreamcast, and I'm an Xbox fanboy, so yeah. I don't really like. I mean, I like Sega, but my collection's more focused on Nintendo too. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say I am definitely a Nintendo fanboy. I'm also going for a complete Nintendo collection.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 43 games away from a complete collection right now.
Seriously?
Nice.
That's it?
That's it, 43.
Dang, I remember when it was much more. Holy cow.
Much more, yeah. I put the pedal to the metal. I've been going to a lot of conventions recently, and I just have a lot of guys like you guys, for example, looking out for me, and it's definitely come a long way. And then my Super Nintendo collection is very, I don't want to say huge, but I probably have about 150 Super Nintendo games, and I have almost every Super Nintendo game I want,
We
How
got
many,
probably
how
like
many are in the
5.
collection for Super Nintendo?
You know what? It's close. I don't know the exact number. Hello. I don't know the exact number. It's almost it's a little bit more than Nintendo. I think it's like right around 800.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing with that is too, is there's very little unlicensed games. So you don't really have to worry too much about the unlicensed. There's only a couple. Where Nintendo, there's 91 unlicensed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, Terry, the unlicensed ones are always the pain in the butt to track down.
Well, actually, in my opinion, licensed are, because we got most of our like unlicensed all done before we went to like license. Like we were missing stuff like Swordmaster. Like that was a huge one for us.
Mm-hmm.
No, but dude, it was really hard to find the unlicensed. They're tough. Look, one of our last ones was just an unlicensed one, dude. Operation Secret Storm.
Yeah. If you think about it, Terry, you guys needed 4 games,
Yep.
and 3 of the 4 were unlicensed.
I know,
So.
they're hard when you get. I don't know what Tyler's talking about. You talk to some people too that are going for a complete collection, and they'll say I'm only 22 away, and then they'll say of licensed games, and they don't consider unlicensed games as part of the collection. Where I think even if they're unlicensed, they're part of the collection. So
Yeah, I do
You just
too.
don't count Myriad, yeah.
Yeah, see, but then you'll have people argue with you. You need to count Myriad. You need to count World Championship, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it's really, what do you need to count? What don't you need to count? It's really whatever you want as a complete collection.
We don't count Myriad because all it literally is just a Caltron and just sticker slapped on it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally no difference with the game at all.
Yeah.
yeah, if you have Caltron, you have Myriad, I think.
Like I could literally like right now go get like a repo sticker of like Myriad, go get my Caltron, slap it on, and sell it for $1,000. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
There is actually a change on the title screen though.
Wait,
There
what?
actually is. Yeah, there is a change on the title screen. Although it does say it still says made by Caltron on the bottom.
Mm.
Huh.
Oh, great.
So-
Now we got to get Myriad.
Yeah.
No, we don't, and I don't want to get Myriad.
I personally count Myriad. I'm going to try to get a Myriad, but it's also going to be at the very end of the line for me. You know, I'm not unless I come across one and get a great deal on it. I'm not gonna actively try to get one till
Mm-hmm.
it'll be one of my last 5 games. You know.
It's a dumb variant still.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's not. So, well, I basically have said I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy. I know Tyler and Terry definitely are, but Mike and Chris were kind of all over the place with sort of what they collect. We'll start with Mike. What's your favorite console, Mike?
Right now, I'm gonna say it's 360 or Xbox One, but if we're going retro, Nintendo.
Original Nintendo and
NES.
and Xbox One. What about you, Chris? What's your favorite console?
Well, right now, currently, my favorite console is actually the Neo Geo AES. That's the one I want to collect for the most, actually, technically, right now. Also,
Yeah,
I just love how big the cartridges are too. They're just ridiculously huge, you know.
Yeah. Neo Geo has an extreme cult following. Like,
Yeah.
if you like Neo Geo, you love Neo Geo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone who collects Neo Geo that's kind of like, yeah, I like Neo Geo. I collect for it. Everyone I talk to that I know that are Neo Geo collectors love it.
Yeah, it's a great console. I mean, once you get your hands on it and actually try it out, you'll instantly just start loving it.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I would say my only experience with Neo Geo, probably like most people, is just playing the arcade cabinet. And I remember playing it as a kid, and it has like the 4 or 5 different games you could play on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remember playing Samurai Showdown and Metal Slug. Those are like, but other than that, I have very little experience with Neo Geo.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's just seeing how expensive the games are each.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
buy them in a retail store because they will charge obscene prices for it. Never do
It's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, collecting Neo Geo is like the Rolls Royce of video game collecting. It's
It
And
will
you
set
never
you
see
back.
Neo Geo in the wild.
no, never.
Yeah, almost never. There's a particular video game store in Manhattan. I'm not gonna name it, obviously, but say if I might have seen if I picked up Samurai Spirits or Showdown, however you want to call it, I picked up my copy, the first one, for like $20, $30 on eBay probably, because I could never find it. But the game store, they sell it for over $150. And I'm just
Ooh.
like, why is it so much money? And he says, oh, because it's from Japan and it's for the Neo Geo and you can never find it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, okay, you're just overpricing because you want to overprice it.
Come on, Mike,
You-
name names.
He is right about the you can never find it, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we got a
ridiculous.
couple game stores. Like, there's this one that just recently went out of business. Well, they're claiming that they're trying to find a new venue, but they used to just charge just insane prices for, like, I don't know, for example, like Jack Nicklaus Golf, like $1 game. You laugh at it whenever you see it. They wanted $13 for it.
Who-
The game, yes. Dude, no one wants that game.
I like Phil Mickelson.
No, but they just charge like $13 for that game. Like they charged $55 for 1942, which is like $5 at most, probably.
I can't
Speaking
stand
of
that.
overcharging, I don't know if Chris remembers this. There was a certain store in an undisclosed location by that gas station by somewhere where you live.
I know
a
what
couple
you're talking
years
about.
ago.
I know what you're talking about.
He wanted Mario Duck Hunt. He wanted like $70 for it.
What?
Are you
For
serious?
every game, he wanted insane prices for every game. I hated that guy.
Wow.
$70 for Mario Duck Hunt, the most common game.
That's another thing.
Like
You will
100
you will have people who would think just because it's old, just because it's retro, that means it's worth a lot of money.
I use
Yeah.
Mario Duck Hunt as toilet
That-
paper, dude.
that happens. That
Oh, yeah.
happens a lot. Is people think it's old and people think it's worth money. Now on the
But
flip
he
side
knew
of
what
that,
it was worth.
we all look for the people who don't care and want nothing. So it's
Of course.
and then we complain about the people that want too much. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad. But yeah, I mean, it irks me just like anyone who's collecting games when they see a Mario Duck Hunt for even $10.
Yeah.
Tyler and Terry, what is your favorite console? I can probably guess what your favorite console is, but I'll let you guys tell me.
NES, dude, all the way. My story is kind of the same. Basically, I saw a bunch of videos about the NES, and I thought it looked really cool. And when I was going to camp one day during the summer, we stopped at this little garage sale, and it didn't have that much stuff, but what they did have was a Marble Madness for a quarter, and I managed to have a quarter on me, so I got it, and it was probably like, I don't know, 2 weeks from my birthday, and I got probably a couple other games like Spy versus Spy, Mario Duck Hunt, and my dad got me a Retron 3, which basically had a NES, SNES, and a Genesis on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember just playing all day with it, and I thought this was so awesome, so I just thought, okay, I'm just gonna, get some games I think would be pretty fun, and then after we probably got like 100 or something, just like, okay, let's probably collect for this.
So you got into just collecting games on your own.
Well, yeah, kinda. Then Pops just kind of jumped in.
Yeah, Terry, what's your experience with Nintendo? Like when it came out, like in the '80s, when Nintendo was out and popular. I
Well,
assume you.
Well, in the '80s, let's see, in '82, I was in the Marines. So, but let's see, when it first came out, I had one game. What was it?
Silent Service.
Silent Service, and I'd have to go over to my friend's house to play it. And you talk about trying to sell something hard. Try to get a bunch of guys to play Silent Service with you.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody wants to play that game. So, but no, I think my favorite console would have to be the NES, and then second would be the 64. And not just because of the games, just because of all the stuff that goes with it. I just love all that extra little weird stuff, from controller variants to figurines and just everything that they pumped out with it.
They made a lot of stuff for 64, like cameras, walkie-talkies, a bunch of plushies, action figures. I mean, you name it, 64 probably had it.
Yeah, 64 is really, and that's really when they upped their marketing with 64 and with the Game Boy stuff. That's when they came out with all the Play It Loud and then the Game Boy Color and all the different colors and all the different color 64s and all, those different color 64s were just genius,
Those
It's
are a
like,
blast to collect. Like in like, I don't know, 2010, those are really fun because they weren't expensive. But now I'm like going on like the eBay just to see how much they are, and they're like $100 to $110 for just a Pikachu, and just Pikachu. That's it.
yeah, you guys do have all the Play It Loud color or Funtastic 64s,
Fantastic
right?
Fun, yep.
Yes, we do, and we also have a Japanese blue, ice blue 64. It has like a white bottom to it. It's pretty neat.
White bottom. Yeah, I know there's that one, and then there's an orange one, orange and black. It's like two-tone.
Yeah.
And there's a red and white one too.
Yeah, it is cool though, because like I know how you guys have them displayed, and I know a lot of collectors have them displayed like that, all like in a row. They just look so cool sitting on a shelf, all like all the colors.
With the controller next to them too.
What looks even cooler for the 64s is if you put all the controllers together.
They do look pretty cool.
Yeah.
There are way more colors than controllers. We did it one time for a game meetup here in Portland, and we put it in a display case of ours, and it looks awesome. There's just so many different controllers, variants, and it's just 64 greatness.
We got a lot of different 64 controllers. Like we got the DK64 controller, which is probably like one of the hardest ones to find. The Nintendo Power 100 controller.
I think that's the hardest one to find. That Nintendo Power controller.
There's a couple of random ones, like they got like a Star Fox E3 demo controller. It's like a gold, just like a sticker on it. Toys R Us ones, like they got a Jeffrey one where it's just a black controller with the sticker.
Yeah.
Just
See, I didn't I didn't even know about those two controllers.
Mike and Chris, you guys are both from New York,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you guys live by each other.
Yeah, we only live about a
5
mile or
minutes.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Would you say that it's harder to find things in the wild now than it was a year ago in your area, or about the same?
Uh,
I've never found things in the wild
it's
in
it's
our area.
it's hard to find things in our area because we actually live in Staten Island. So it's there's not many places to go to. There's only a few game stores around. It's mostly GameStop. There's maybe two retro game stores on the island, but they have the same stock really, so it's almost
And they
impossible to find anything.
overcharge.
And they overcharge a lot too, so it's really hard to find. The only places we can really go to is either Manhattan or Jersey. That's it. Or
Brooklyn.
besides online, but I'd rather, like you said, look in the wild. So um, really, it's and Brooklyn too. Yeah, that's another
a lot of
choice.
Goodwills.
Or yeah, that's pretty much it. But that's the only thing is we have to travel, so we have to figure out how to get there, and it's not easy every time. You have to either take a bus into the city, and that's like a $6 going, $6 coming back, or you have to get someone who has a car to actually go down to said location. You got to convince them, and then there's gas money right there, so it's not easy for us.
So you guys don't have cars in where you live.
I don't have a car. My roommate does. I used to have a car. I don't want to get into that one, but and Mike's only 15, so
I can't drive, but I have two
See,
cars.
and that for us that's totally foreign because we're just if you don't have a car around here, it's just unheard of. But we don't have we're not in the city like you guys are.
mm,
So
Yeah, I would
but
say New York City has to be the most friendly place as far as transportation to not have a car. More people probably don't have cars than do
Yeah.
have cars
Yeah.
there.
I would think so. Yeah, it costs lots
It's
to
not
park
driving.
there, right?
oh well, if you're gonna park in Manhattan, it can actually be very expensive. Very
Mhm.
expensive. You might end up spending like $20 for 1 hour.
Ouch! Dang.
Yeah, so if you have a car and you're going into Manhattan, yeah, be prepared to spend money because if you're gonna spend several hours down there, you're probably gonna end up spending like $100 or $200 just for parking.
Oh yeah. So just the logistics of getting to a game store for you guys.
In Manhattan, yeah, if you're gonna travel to Manhattan, if take a bus, get a Metro card, and just take the subways all over the place because that's the best bet you're gonna have.
That's crazy, That's,
I am grateful for a car.
So-
Dang.
So you guys really, really have to fight for your games.
Yeah, and
It's
for us
worth
to get,
it.
yeah, and from where we live in Staten Island, for us to get into the city, it's probably say if we take the bus, which is $6 going, it would probably take about an hour and a half to get into the city. If we want to go the cheap route and just spend like $2.50, from where I live, I would have to take a bus down to the train station, take the train down to the ferry, take the ferry into the city, and then take the subway to wherever I want to go to. And that's probably about 2.5 to 3 hours.
I was
of
gonna
travel.
say that has to be at least 2 hours before you're even anywhere. which
Yeah.
is-
It's ridiculous.
on a Saturday, I can be out looking for games and back home in 2 hours, and you're not even to the store yet.
I'm not
you
even to
know?
the store. You gotta be very patient when you live where we live.
Yeah, I will say though, with what Terry was saying, just in the past year, it's been so much harder than the previous year, which has been so much harder to find games than the previous year, and then etc. Because I've been collecting games now for at least 5 years,
Same with us,
And-
yeah.
and it's just gotten progressively harder and harder. The scores have been less and less. I remember I used to be able to go onto Craigslist, and it was super easy. I'd be doing a Craigslist deal at least once a month, maybe even twice a month, or if I was really lucky, a lot more than that. But now I'm lucky if I get 2 good Craigslist scores a year. You know?
Yeah, like, I was just talking to Pops in the car today. I was just rewatching some of our old videos from like, I don't know, 2012 or something like that, and we just casually say, so yeah, we just got a Ice Blue 64 from Goodwill, $20, I think this is pretty cool. When today we just be like, we found a freaking Ice Blue 64 at Goodwill for $20. It's like,
Yeah.
it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our Goodwills have changed too because our Goodwill is the model for all the other shop Goodwills in the country. So they have been taking everything Nintendo and just putting it up on their shop Goodwill.
On the online shop, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. Now I know you guys do a lot of thrift store. You guys get a lot of stuff from thrift stores. Now where I am, I can't find something at a thrift store to save my life. I've never found anything cool at a thrift store. If I do find something, it's always like disc-based Madden games. That's it. Now
we
I
find a
do
lot
get,
of that stuff too, though.
Yeah, as we all do. But I mean, that just never. It never happens. The Goodwills around here, nothing. I don't know what the deal is, but around here, there's always yard sales. It's in season, so that's where I get my best deals is yard sales. I also enjoy those the most because it's really like you're going into everything completely blind. You go up to the sale, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to be there. But it's like, I mean, for every time I find a game, I probably go to 40 yard sales that don't even have games. You know what I mean?
Have you ever gotten this one? This one seems to be we get over and over. We ask every yard sale we go to if we see games or not. We say, "Do you have any retro video games?" And most of the time they say no. They say, "But we do have these VHS tapes." It's like, how is that a transition? You know?
Yeah, I can't say I get VHS tapes. I will say no, but I have fill in the blank, and it will be something random, but nothing consistent. Like nothing consistent with VHS tapes. You know,
Ours is always it must be a regional thing because our friend Toby was the one that brought it up to us the other day. They said, "Hey, have you noticed that?" And we're like, "Oh my God, yes."
He understands.
And another thing you brought up too, Terry, which is like so key for collecting and just finding stuff, is when you go to the yard sale, no matter what they have out, you always ask, "Hey, do you have any old video games?"
Mm-hmm.
We do it all the time.
So many times they say no, and so many times you'll get the story like, "Yeah, I have them, but fill in the blank. You know, they're here, they're at my other house, or I'll give you a call later." That kind of thing.
They never
But
give
for
us
the
a call
times
back.
when they actually no, never get a call back. You never get a call. But
No.
those times that they pay off, you're so happy that you asked. This year alone, it happened to me twice, and one of them was I got 200 Nintendo games for $200, and $1 a game you can't beat.
Yeah, we're always at yard sales and we'll look at each other and go, "Did you ask? No. Did you ask? No." Or so one of us definitely always asks, if they have it.
Mainly the slave worker over here. Well,
Tyler's so lazy. He wanted to buy a megaphone at Goodwill and drive by yard sales and say, "Do you have retro video games?"
no joke, that's a true story. We bought one actually because I finally convinced him, and it didn't work. So I'm still holding out for that megaphone.
Tyler's trying to work smarter, not harder. So we've kind of talked about, what we collect and what our favorite consoles and least favorite consoles are. Oh, speaking of, my favorite console is Super Nintendo. I didn't really get into that too much. I just love it. I love all the games, RPGs. I like playing RPGs. So that's really why that's my favorite console. But
do you like the controller better than the NES controller?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do.
Is that your favorite controller for all the systems too?
Honestly, my favorite controller is probably a GameCube controller. I like the way the GameCube controller feels. If you're comparing Super Nintendo controller to Nintendo controller, yeah, definitely Super Nintendo. If you play Nintendo for a couple hours, the corners of that Nintendo controller are just digging into your hands. It's
Dog bone.
Yeah, I have grips for mine. They're like a third-party grip you just put on, and it gives it a round look like a Super Nintendo controller, which helps.
How do you feel about the advantage for the Nintendo?
I don't like it. I don't hate it.
Mm.
I don't hate
Pops
it.
hate you then.
I don't like it I think it's cool. I think it's cool looking. As far as gameplay, there's not many games that I would use it before.
He cheats. He uses that controller whenever he play like Commando, and it just I hate it because I always just consider it like a cheating controller because he has like
It's-
turbo on.
Yeah, I
It
was
could
about
be a
to say
little
turbo.
cheating.
Because I learned to play Commando on an arcade. I can't go back.
Yeah, it can be a little cheaty, but
A little, it's basically cheating.
it's
It's ridiculous. Okay.
Well, you know what alternative is if you use the Nintendo controller and you don't like how the sides kind of get into your hands after a while. Like you said, you can always go with the dog bone, but if anything, you can always go with those Messiah controllers.
Side
Yep.
controllers.
Yeah, you know how Messiah made a phone console called the Generation Next?
Oh,
remember that?
those. Yeah.
Yeah, they're rounded, so you can always go with those.
Yeah.
And they're a
Okay,
lot more
I know what
smooth.
you're
Generation X is
talking about.
actually a very good controller. Really a good controller.
I've actually never used one of those, so
I've used them a couple times. Though.
They made a wireless controller that's pretty good too. The Generation Next.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah, they're a nice controller. Whenever we get those, I always say we gotta save this.
let's talk about what we're all currently playing, what games we're currently playing, or if you're not playing something right this second, what was the very last game you played? And we'll start with Mike.
Right now I'm actually playing Dreamcast mainly, so like Marvel vs. Capcom and all that. But on 360 I've been playing Grand Theft Auto to pass time.
Are you playing is that Grand Theft Auto 5?
Yeah.
That's not a bad game. I'll be honest. I played it for a while and it's pretty good.
It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff to do in that game.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into Grand Theft Auto 5. The last one I played was the ones for PS2. I'm kind of afraid to get into it for fear that it will just consume all my time.
It will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't play the story. I just mainly just kind of steal good cars and just drive around. That's the game for me right there.
When I used to play PlayStation 2 ones, that's pretty much what I would do and try to get the police to chase me and try to get them to come at me with like the tanks and everything. That was like my goal.
Yeah, that was the
Tanks
best thing
and
to do.
helicopters.
I would find a hiding spot and use an RPG.
Nice.
I remember like the first night I got GTA 5, me and Pops played it for a while, and when I finally got a helicopter, we had like a huge fight on who was gonna fly the helicopter.
So who flew the helicopter?
I think it was me.
It wasn't that big of a fight because you won.
I remember when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, I had to go the next day because I couldn't go to midnight. And in our mall, and Chris knows, we have a manager. I don't want to say his name, but
Say his name.
he doesn't.
He's gonna
Not
immediately
damn.
know.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well, I mean, he speaks English, but he doesn't use common sense. So if you didn't pre-order the game, you get your copy first. You get to go in and buy it, and everyone else has to stand on a line for 4 hours. So I got into a fight with him over it and kind of almost got thrown out of the mall. So yeah.
I just went probably like a week after the game got released because I had like a GameStop gift card for that much and just bought it for PS3.
Here's something I always do with new gen games, and I don't know if maybe a lot of people do it or what the deal is, but other than I think the Link Between Worlds, the Zelda game, I don't think I've bought a new gen game ever. I always just get them after the fact. I figure I have so many games already that I'm not going to go out and pay the full price for the game. I don't know. Maybe there's just not as many games that I'm excited to play immediately that I can just wait for. But I mean, typically I'll just wait. I probably have like 30 PlayStation 3 games now. And I probably paid $10 for or less for most of them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the deal for me and Pops because I remember when I kind of started to first collect for Nintendo, we still used to play like PS3 and stuff like that, and we always bought whatever Lego game came out during that time. So we got like a complete Indiana Jones, Star Wars. We just got tons of Lego games.
Those
And they're
Lego,
fun. They're really fun.
They are so much fun.
The Lego series is so addicting too, because they're all so well done.
I will always have a special place for Lego games because that is really the first games I got to sit down and play with my son when
Mm.
he was about 4 years old. And he could play them because, we would play the Star Wars and the Indiana Jones because you sit there and you die, but you come right back to life right there. So it was great for him to like learn how to play a video game, and I loved them because I thought the story was so cool, and I like loved Legos as a kid. So I will always love Lego games just because of that. It's what got me and my son into gaming together.
Well, one of my best memories probably with like the Lego games is I don't really remember like, just the games in general, but I remember like, the little studs you can get in the game. There's like, the silver, the gold, the blue, and like the really rare purple one. I remember like after you killed an enemy, they dropped like a couple of them. My dad would
Yeah.
just like when I left like the section of the screen, he's just like, "Go back, you missed a bunch of bolts." And he just always used to tell me that. So now anymore, I always just try to get like, I don't know, every single coin before I move on or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
like a collectathon.
So thanks, Dad.
Look, you want to beat the game, you're gonna have a million studs.
No. Well, yeah. Do you remember after that, like in Lego Indiana Jones, like if you like do everything, I guess, like when you go back to the main area, we can like buy characters and go to levels. There's like a bolt exploding everywhere, and that's that stupid boop 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 sound, and bolts are basically worthless anymore.
Yeah.
That kind of ruined the game for him, so we don't play Lego Indiana Jones anymore.
um, Chris, what are you playing right now?
Currently, I'm actually replaying a game, and it's one of my favorite games. Actually, this one's for the Xbox 360. I'm playing Alan Wake for like the umpteenth time. I love the game. It just has a great story, I feel, and I just love the how the mechanics work, and also how you fight the enemies. Like if you're fighting an enemy, you actually have to fight them with light. So you shine a flashlight at them, you get rid of the darkness or whatever that's consuming them, then you shoot them up. But that's what I'm currently playing right now for the Xbox 360. I'm also playing for Steam. I'm playing Killing Floor with my friends. From what I heard, Killing Floor was actually a game that came out a while ago, but was never popular until some people started doing some Let's Plays on it, and then it automatically like, picked up out of nowhere. But
Yeah.
that's another fun game to play. It's really cool, especially when you were friends. You're just running around screaming. So that's what I'm really currently playing right now. Just Alan Wake and Killing Floor.
Nice. What about uh what about you, Tyler and Terry? What are you guys playing?
You want to go first, Pops?
Okay. I would think. Well, I was playing Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, but I got stuck at a level, so I kind of bagged on that lately. But my most recent would be Skylanders for the Wii U.
The
Yeah.
Swap Force?
Yeah.
Swap Force, yeah. Um, we got they had like an open box. Target in Oregon, Target stores. If something's wrong with something, they give it to Goodwill, and then Goodwill just puts it out and sells it. So they had one with an open box for $5. So it had all the pieces and everything, and we bought it, and it's actually pretty good. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
think I'd like it, but because I played Giants and I played the original, and I really love those two. And then when they did Swap Force, I thought, you guys ruined the franchise and didn't give it much thought. But now that I played it, it's really really good. So,
yeah, I've definitely played it with my kids. It is good. It comes off as being kind of like a kid type game, but if you actually sit down and play it, it's a blast. It's got a lot of RPG. It's like action RPG. I
yeah,
actually enjoy playing it.
yeah. So that's what I'm playing right now is Skylanders Wii U.
Nice. Tyler, what are you playing other than Mario Kart 8?
Actually, to be honest, I haven't played that game in a while. Let's see. Probably Skate 3 because I got it for free at a game store. I know, pretty old game, but it's pretty fun for me. But probably the most recent one is this one, Bucky O'Hare. I find it really fun, although it is hard, and I
It's
mean
it's definitely hard.
hard. Like seriously, I don't know how long it probably took me just to complete probably the first planet, and it was like probably the most easiest planet to do.
I've never played it before, but how hard is it? Like, is it like Battletoads hard?
Let's just say you'll want to rip your hair out. That's for
Oh, okay.
sure. It'll drive you
Um,
insane.
it's
It looks.
definitely
I haven't played it. It looks really hard.
It is
it's hard.
hard.
It's hard. It's cool, but it's hard.
Here's the thing. I remember like he came in because like the playroom is kind of like the movie-ish room where like my dad and my sister they go and like watch Warehouse 13 or whatever that show is. But anyways, I remember when I was like, okay, time to go. And I was like, please just let me beat this section. And so I have the password for the game written down right here. So whenever I play it now, I got it. So yeah, that's probably the game I'm playing right now, I guess.
I am currently playing for the Nintendo. I'm playing Adventure Island. Speaking of hard, that game is impossible.
Bucky's harder, man. That game has no mercy.
Um, I put Adventure Island in with the expectation that I will beat this game, and it's been over a week, and I can only get to like the fourth level. So if you want a challenge, play Adventure Island. It's fun. But what's been consuming my life and evenings and keeping me up way too late is Minecraft. I have been playing. I have been playing Minecraft for the PS3. I love it. I'm addicted to it. I have about 4 or 5 people that I play with every night, which helps because it's all like good people. We all know each other really well now, and yeah, Minecraft. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, you can actually trust those people. They're not gonna lay dynamite underneath your house or something. So
No, none of that. Yeah,
That crap
it's
has
cool.
happened to me a lot.
Yeah, I hate that. I don't understand why people do that. They think it's funny. I don't know. They're immature.
It's messed up.
Um, yeah, I mean, I play with people all different ages and from different countries. We have someone who plays from Australia, ages like 14 through 30 something, and we all get along and we all respect each other. But
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah, we've definitely had people come along and just start dumping lava everywhere and just doing
Yeah.
dumb stuff like that.
Speaking of dumping lava, there's somebody here that likes to do that on other people's worlds, whose name is Chris.
I did it one time. One
Speaking
time.
of dumping lava.
No, I asked you, are you gonna save? You went no. I went okay. I just started dumping lava on everything.
Chris talking about people trolling on Minecraft. And
Well, a friend of mine who's part of my channel, this is the first time we got Minecraft. So I'm in the world, my other friend's in the world, and he joins, and we're building something. We decided to dedicate one of our areas to being like a whole Dragon Ball Z world. So we're literally building every single building, every single monument in the world. So we're doing that, and we're doing pretty good. And he disappears for about half an hour, and I'm just like, where'd he go? This is Dario. That's part of the group. I'm like, where did you go? And he's like, I'm not doing anything. What are you doing? So I look in the map, I see where he is, and I go over there, and I'm like, what the hell did you do? And he's like, I may have started a forest fire. So a huge section of the map is on fire, and I'm just like, why? He just did that, and he has this tendency of every time he's inside the actual game with us, he likes to hide sponges everywhere. He hides everywhere, in the walls, in the floor, over here, under this, under that. I'm just like, stop with the sponges.
That's what that was on Dragon Ball.
Yeah, you saw some of the sponges, right? I don't know if I showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw them. Yeah, he likes to hide them as reminders he was here. So
I could be worse.
yeah, it could be worse, I guess. Like he could start another forest fire and not tell me.
So yeah, that's. I'm extremely addicted to it. I can't stop playing it. I think about it all the time. I kind of want to play it right now, actually, but
Trust me, dude, you won't get bored of it after like a couple more months of playing it. I mean, I literally played it for like my entire summer of 2013. I always went on like this one server. I just had, all these amazing buildings. I got a bunch of ores and stuff like that. And then the server went down, and I lost all my progress for a summer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
It's cool because I don't play it on it anymore.
We have 3 different servers we play on, so that's also helpful too to change it up. Same group of people, just different servers, and it just keeps it different. Anyone want to talk about stuff that they just recently picked up? I'm sure we all have recently acquired something. Start with our guests.
So okay, one of the probably like my favorite things we just got recently was a Star Fox Adventures survival pack. It was only available for from Circuit City, which obviously we all know went out of business a long time ago. But inside of it, it's a soda, like a green apple soda, a toilet paper roll that has game tips, which I don't get at all, and
That's the
something
most
else.
amazing thing ever.
Yeah. You remember what else there was?
It's like a do not disturb sign for your if you like at a hotel room type.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. It was like, I don't know, like our wing, something like that. It's interesting, that's for sure, and it's worth quite a bit.
Yeah, it was in the box at down at the beach, and the guy has a game store / movie store, and he said, "You guys ever seen this?" And we try to be all cool. Yeah, we've seen that before. It's pretty common, but deep down we're like, we need to own that.
We're just like 12-year-old girls. It's like, oh my god, I need this.
Nice. Yeah, you always have to downplay. Always got to downplay the item.
I think they're pretty good when we got bonks for 150.
Tyler has the worst poker face of anybody though. Like,
Dad, we got bonks adventure for $1.50 thanks to this guy. Okay.
that guy threw out the price and we just bought. That wasn't a poker face. That somebody will show us something and Tyler go, yeah, that's totally rare. You never see that. That's really really hard to find.
Well, probably the thing is with the bonks I probably had no idea. Well, I remember at the time it was like when we started collecting, I had no idea about anything. I was like probably more excited about some stupid Mario game than bonks. Like same thing happened like a long time ago. We went to Goodwill and we found like a stack of these 64 games, and there was a Conker's Bad Fur Day in there. I remember, and I remember Pops was looking at this weird Conker's game that I don't think was worth anything, and I'm just like, oh my god, they got Pokemon Stadium.
No, but we just got back from a few days at the beach, and Tyler found a box behind the counter, and there was just all sorts of great Nintendo plushes and those Christmas signs and all sorts of cool stuff in this box. And
it was like the Nintendo 64 era.
Yeah, we bought everything out of the box except for this one guy happened to grab 2 plushes before we could grab the whole box.
Yeah, they were Banjo-Kazooie plushes.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. I've never seen those.
I asked for the box first. It wasn't there.
But and then it's kind of funny. Like you'll go someplace at the beach and they kind of know what things are worth, but nobody has any money to buy it. Price everything pretty low to begin with. So prices are pretty darn low at the beach. But then if they make a mistake, you're all of a sudden in garage sale prices. So it's a pretty nice place to game hunt.
Another thing that Tyler brought up that hasn't been pointed out yet, and I just think is the coolest is how young Tyler and Mike both are. Tyler's 14, is that right, Tyler?
Yeah, I just turned 14 probably like a week or two ago.
And Mike's 15. And I think it's so cool that how into the retro game stuff you guys are, and not only into it, but like really into it and knowledgeable. And you guys are both more knowledgeable than a lot of collectors I know, that are my age. So I just think it's super awesome that now I'm gonna sound like an old man or something saying like a younger generation.
Hey, don't worry, Pop says that all the time. It's normal.
Yeah.
No, I am an old man.
Like he calls anyone who's younger than 50 kids or something like that. So we see like some 30-year-old man or something like that. It says like, "Oh, that kid over there," blah blah blah. I was like, dude, really?
Uh, but no, I think it's great how into it like you guys are, and like I've been getting my son. I don't push it on him. You know, I kind of let him discover all the stuff on his own. But how into all the old games he is and all the stuff he knows. You know, and he's 6. You know, so I just think it's. And anytime I see a younger collector getting into it, there's a guy like in my area, who I don't know how old he is. I know he's younger, and I know he doesn't have a job, you know. So anytime I see him, I'll just give him some games. I'll just be like, here you go. Just because
Cool, man.
I need, you know, I think it's cool that you guys are going to carry the torch of the people that grew up with this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, there's this
So,
one kid. Do you remember
um,
that from Cal? He came up to your booth and asked if you had this one game that had Fur Day in it, and I don't remember, like, oh, Brian said, Conker's Bad Fur Day. He said no, it's Fur Day something.
Yeah, well, there are those kids that just try to get in, but you guys have immersed yourself in it, which is kind of funny. We'll go to a video game store and people will talk down to Tyler, and they always have, like, oh, over there's the rare games, the rare NES games, and they're like $20 games, nothing really rare, and they'll go, those are pretty hard to find, and and we've gotten to the point where we don't say anything really at all anymore. We just
Hmm.
let people talk and say what they want and treat us however they want to treat us. As long as we come out of there with what we want, we're fine. But they always talk down to Tyler like he has no clue what he's talking about. Oh, so you like the NES games? Yeah, there's a rare one over here. That's what do you call that? Double Dragon. Yeah, that's pretty hard to find.
There was
yeah.
this one lady I remember. We went to this game store, and she was just like grabbing random games from like the back, and we told her like probably 3 times we're missing Menace Beach, Cheetah Man, and Stadium events, and she kept holding just common stuff up. Like I remember me and Pop say this all the time, but we always say you got TMNT, and it just blows my mind. We're just like, no, yes we do. We are missing Menace Beach, Cheetah Man, and Stadium events.
How about Top Gun? You need Top Gun, guys?
Mike, have you gotten anything fun recently without sacrificing anything like
So morals, safety, and well-being.
any morals? Have you picked up anything?
Well, me and Chris have been doing a lot of trading in the past 3 weeks. So I got a Dreamcast, a Game Gear, a Model 2 Genesis because he needed a Model 3. He needed a Model 3. I needed a Model 2, so we traded for that. I have like 8 original Xboxes, so I traded him for a Dreamcast for an original Xbox.
Yeah, I had an extra one, so I just said, you know what, if you want it, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. He needed a Kid Icarus, and I needed a Game Gear. So yeah, it was a lot more too. But would I trade you for the?
Like,
Yeah.
like, so happy.
Sorry?
Chris is showing off his Kid Icarus. What have you gotten, Chris?
Oh my god, a lot of stuff. I've gotten probably well over 30 games, and well, maybe 30, I don't know, but 30 or 40 games, and I got about one, two, three, four, about 4 consoles and a handheld. Let's see, I got, like it said, the Model 3 from Mike. Actually, I picked up a Model 1 Genesis about a month or so ago from this one of the retro game stores, one of the 2 retro game stores that's on the island. Now, thing is, you know how like if you go into a store, they sell them for about $50 or $60, right? Working
60.
everything. Yeah, the store we go to, they sell them for normally $60. The guy had one on display on the shelf, so I looked at him and went, "How? What? Why is that over there?" He said it wasn't working. So I asked him, "Well, would you sell it?" And he said, "Yeah, I'd sell it. I don't care." And I asked him how much was it, and he gave me a price of $15 or something like that. And I told him, yeah. See, the thing is, when I go on these things, I try to go as low as possible. So I said, "Would you take?" I only have $8. So he he thought about it. And I told him it's not working. Who's gonna buy it? And he's like, yeah, it's been up there for a while. Okay, here to give me the $8. So I bought it for $8. I came home. All I did was I opened it up, cleaned it out, cleaned up the cartridge port, plugged it in. Guess what? It works.
Dang.
Worked fine.
It worked fine.
Nice.
So I got a Model 1 Genesis for $8. Yeah, yeah,
Good.
it
Well,
is
if
pretty
you
good.
want to hear a good story about things not working, well, I'm at Chris's house, so I see the Streamcast in the corner sitting
Oh
there.
yeah, the Dreamcast.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I haven't played it for 3 months, but it works. It's great, you know."
it worked.
So I go home, wait a day, and I try to play it. The thing is not. It's the game, the VGA, not the VGA, but the. I think the cables are broken because it's not displaying on the TV. So I call him and I'm like, it's not working. So he's like, "Oh, bring it to my house. I'll look at it." He opens it and the fucking thing's not connected inside.
Ah!
Okay.
That's Chris's MO. That's what he does.
Yeah,
You
he
didn't-
takes
you
them
didn't know
apart
that?
and just gives them away. Yeah.
Well, I have a thing of every time I buy a new console of any kind, I have to open it up. I have to clean it out, right? Because I don't know what's living in there. Because one time I bought like a Master System on eBay because I could never find one here on this island, and whenever I would go to the store, they would charge obscene prices. So I got a Master System. I picked it up and I looked at it and I noticed there were cobwebs inside. So I opened it up and I found like a nice little dead spider's nest in there. So I had to clean it out. So
Oh,
ever
great.
yeah.
What about that dead cat?
Dead cat? No, he's making it up now. So ever since then, I decided, you know what? If I buy something new, I'm going to clean it out, right? So I when I was cleaning out the Dreamcast, I accidentally forgot to plug in the controller port back onto the motherboard itself. So yeah, when he took it home, he was complaining it wasn't working. So I opened up the Dreamcast. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I can't find any problems. So I'm like looking around, and I'm like, oh, and he's looking at me like.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what did you find the problem? Like, I forgot to plug in the control ports. so,
I didn't hook it up.
so I plug it in. I plug in the control ports and we plug it into the TV and it works fine. So
Nice.
I got a pretty short story. Me and Pops bought a Atari 5200 and it didn't work. That's it. And we never even managed to get it to work still. I don't even
You
think we
still
have it
have it?
anymore. Do you remember that? That was from like Trevor.
Yeah, we traded Trevor. It was a mint condition, probably because nobody played it because it didn't work.
5200.
Yeah.
Our best didn't work story though is we bought a Play Choice 10 from a guy off Craigslist, stand-up arcade machine. He said he had it in his storage unit. We went and picked it up. He said it didn't work, but still had all games in it. Brought it home on the trailer, blew it out with a leaf blower because it was so dusty.
yeah,
Plugged it in and it worked.
you know that's usually the case with a lot of old stuff like that. You just dust it off and it'll start working again. It's kind of weird.
Well,
Our
yeah, we
friend
talked to
Chris,
our.
who owns an arcade, told us, he said, the leaf blower is the worst thing you can do to an old arcade. I said, yeah, dude, but you would not believe the amount of dust that comes out.
Well, yeah. Thing is, I remember talking to like one of my arcade friends on Facebook. I told him about that. He said, "Do not ever do that again unless you want to ruin the machine."
But we have the cleanest Play Choice 10 around on the
Nice.
side.
Nice,
Yeah, that's
nice.
like my. I own 0 arcade cabinets, but Play Choice 10 is like my dream cabinet. So when the day comes, I do buy an arcade cabinet. It will be a Play Choice 10.
I've attempted to buy arcade cabinets in the past, but Craigslist doesn't work here. Everything you get to the house and it worked 5 minutes ago. I don't know why it's not turning on now.
Yeah, the thing is, where we live, when you go on Craigslist to try to look for games, you gotta be very careful because the people down here are very shady. Like, either they do have it, but it's not working, or you go to the area, you're gonna get mugged. So, I mean, it's New York, so
Yeah.
you gotta be very
Yeah.
careful when you're here.
I feel like I could speak for me and Chris that if we were offered any arcade machine of our choice, it'd have to be in Neo Geo.
Instantly, you know, I'm not to get off topic with this, but he's like, "You want my left nut? Take it." Psh, okay.
Now I really don't want to know what you're doing. With that.
Didn't Trevor have 2 Neo Geo machines?
Yes, he did. They were just 2 basic Neo Geo machines. They like sold them, I think, for $400 each. I'm pretty sure.
Aw. Man,
They were in like
$400?
absolute beautiful shape, like no flaws.
they were 1 slots, right?
No, I think they were 4.
But arcade machines around here aren't that much money.
Like
It's-
I
you
could
don't
probably get a broken
understand,
pinball for pretty cheap, I bet.
You don't understand. Chris is dying, and so am I right now. $400.
And it had the rarest Neo Geo game inside of it.
Oh, what? No, what was it?
Don't know. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It didn't.
Okay,
Okay.
you had me ready to cry,
Isn't there
man.
like a soccer game for Neo Geo that's really expensive?
It really depends.
Yeah.
Well, what about Neo Geo Cup '98 for MVS? Is that hard to find?
I think I've seen that in one of the Jersey stores. I think it was Digital Press. I think they might have it. I'm not too sure,
Oh, okay.
but I don't remember how much it was going for.
All right.
Remember, we saw a couple Neo Geo games the other day sitting there. Remember at
Yeah, that was Game Haven, and we asked them, and that wasn't it. That one arcades.
Yeah,
Game Over?
they belong to the retro game or retro arcade around here. They were taking their machines back, and they had a bunch of Neo Geo games stacked up off to the side. And we said, "Are those for sale?" They're like, "No, they belong to the guys who own the games. They were clearing out the store." It's like, well, that's too bad.
Yeah, like we were saying, we never see Neo Geo games in the wild ever.
We never
Tell you
seen
what,
it.
we'll start sending you photos, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So I've gotten a couple cool things pretty recently. I'm constantly getting Nintendo games. I couldn't tell you how many Nintendo games I've got in the past month. Probably about 20, 25, 30. But some of the more highlights of my pickups, I did get a box for my Wild Guns this past weekend,
Nice.
which I'm pretty excited about that. The game itself is hard to find, and the box is even harder to find. I don't go for complete on Nintendo, but my Super Nintendo, I try to get all my games complete.
The boxes
So-
for those are cheap though, like really cheap.
The boxes for
Like Super Nintendo.
are cheap.
Yeah, I'm saying like I don't know, they're made they're like really made with like I don't know, like cheap like cardboard.
Oh,
Like,
they're
they fall
made
apart pretty
cheaply.
easily. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think you were about to say they come cheap, and it's like,
I feel like they are. They're probably like middle of the road as far as cheap or not cheap. But yeah, you do see boxes more often than not beat up for Super Nintendo. I think Nintendo boxes are the best. Then I'd say Super Nintendo are probably comparable to the Nintendo 64.
Oh my god,
As far as-
64 is just horrible with boxes.
Yes.
Are we speaking of build quality for the
Build
box?
quality. Build
Yeah.
quality. Yep.
yeah.
I would say the worst is Atari. They explode.
Have you ever tried the 3DO boxes, the early ones?
Don't they
Before the
just, like,
cases?
smash?
Half the times when you find them in the wild, they're smashed.
Yeah.
Like
I
this.
do
Flat.
always see 3DO boxes just crushed.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Like at least after a while, they had them with the little plastic sides on them, so they won't get crushed. That was a good thing, but I can't stand them because all my box ones are just completely crushed, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also picked up a boxed Pokemon GameCube. The Pokemon XD with the Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness with it. I got that with a GameCube player for $25 for the boxed console with the game, with the GameCube player, with the disc,
Nice.
all for $25.
$25?
For $25, which is an amazing deal.
Did you
Absolutely.
say you picked that up for us? Was that what you just said?
I might have said that.
I think Terry wants it. I think that's what he's trying to make you an offer.
No, come on.
I don't know. I think what he's asking is, what are you willing to do for this GameCube?
It's like, listen, you
Yeah.
pay $25 for it. I'll give you $26 for
But
it.
Maddie, I remember we were talking on Facebook the other day, and you told me that we could just have it.
I
Yeah,
know you need to. You should
that's
make a little money for your trouble. Right?
Yeah.
Here's your
Hey,
gas
I'm-
money.
Like most good collectors, I'm always open for a trade because I don't really
Yeah.
collect GameCube that much. So You
All
know,
right.
I'm always
Well,
up.
I
You
mean,
keep your eyes, Terry. You keep your eyes peeled for me for my NES games I need, and I can easily let that GameCube go to you.
Yeah, we got one. I remember F-15 City Wars.
Mm.
Yes, that's awesome, and that will bring me down to 42 games.
Check you
You-
out.
Do you want us to send you that, or do you want to just hang on to it till you get here?
It's up to you. It's
I don't
really up
care.
to you.
Either
I
way.
don't care either. I'm pretty. I know it's in good hands. I know it's not going anywhere. I still don't count it because it's not in my possession, but I know it's mine. You know.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I did a couple trades. I traded like I did just trade a Conkers for a Fire and Ice and another Nintendo game, which I already had the Fire and Ice. So that's gonna go to a buddy who's going for a complete collection. Um, Nothing else too crazy. I got a bunch of common stuff, here and there.
You got a Menace Beach?
I don't. I actually need Menace Beach. I know you guys need Menace Beach.
We need it more.
You need it more. That's fair.
We don't need it more.
Yes,
I
we
need-
do.
I need a Panic restaurant.
No, I think you're good for now.
Well, if I ever came across two Menace Beaches, you absolutely would get the second one.
There you go.
You're a good friend, Maddie. You're a good friend.
There you go.
Well, actually, Matt,
always
do you have that in your
Yeah.
collection?
What's that, Menace Beach?
No, Panic Restaurant.
Yeah, I have it, and I know those guys have it too.
Nice.
As far as the licensed games go, I don't. I'm trying to think of like the biggest as far as like value goes. I really don't have a big stadium events, obviously. But other than that, any licensed game I need has to be under $50. It's probably Gemfire is probably the biggest licensed game that I need. Which
Dude, funny story about Gemfire. When we got our copy, it was at a game store that's out of business now at the beach, and we really didn't know much about Gemfire because we didn't have like iPhones or my Galaxy, so or not even like a list. So we just like, oh, okay, cool, Gemfire in the box, $6. Okay, sure. And
yeah.
later we were just like, oh my god, this is an expensive game.
I've seen Gemfire before, and it was before I was really seriously, probably like 2 years ago I saw it, and it was like $30 or something before I was really going for a complete collection. If I saw it today for $30, I'd be all over it. So
Yeah.
It would be.
But as far as licensed games go, pretty much all the big heavy hitter titles, I have them. You name them, I probably have them. So
Yeah, like I saw on your list, you're
when
missing
you hit
com-
the PRGE, you'll be able to wipe out most of your list.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
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 I'm definitely sure.
The night before, you'll be able to wipe out most of that list if you don't have any big titles.
Here's the thing, we were at probably like 60 before the PRG, and we just kind of were casually collecting, like we sometimes went game hunting, sometimes we didn't, but at the PRG, we got a booth that year. So on Monday, Pops was stuck at the booth while I was running around getting games. I'm pretty sure we ended up at like 50 or 40 at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find games. Like, we got Bubble Bobble 2, Godzilla 2, No Bunga, however you pronounce it, Ambitions 2.
Yeah,
Mm.
I do
Nobunga's-
need that one. That's another one I need. Nobunga's Ambition too.
Bunga.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where and it's been this way since I've been about 200 games left. I refuse to jump on eBay and just buy them. It's so much better,
Hate eBay.
more
Absolutely
rewarding,
hate
more
it.
fulfilling. And honestly, for my Nintendo, the majority of the collection has all been found, and it's taken years to get to this point. But almost every one of my games has a story. Not to say I haven't gone online and bought a game here and there. And I'll do trades with other collectors. I have one guy who's a collector right now who is selling off a bunch of his games. He has my list. He has some on hold for me, and I've gradually kind of been chipping away at them. But it's not as rewarding. It's so much more fulfilling to find the games, even at a convention. Even when you're somewhere, you're there, you see the game, you don't know what you're gonna find. That to me is half the fun.
Yeah, I don't
Fine.
get what the fun is. It's just,
Yeah.
seeing there like, oh, cool, color dinosaur. I think I'll get that. And just click on
Well,
it.
we couldn't afford to have a complete collection unless we were able to trade.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why we think finding the wild so much better, because you can just trade a ton of stuff for what you need. What was it? Was it Little Samson time?
Yes, we traded for little Samson plus threw in a little bit of money, but we traded a lot of boxes. Like I remember we had like DuckTales 2 in the box, obviously box Gemfire, box Princess Tomato, just tons of cool boxes, and those
But we
sadly all
kept the
went.
games. Yeah, we kept the games. They got the boxes because we're not big box guys. We don't boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't
It
mean
looked
that much.
awesome though. I mean, like I still got a picture of it was probably like from 2011, and I just had like a crappy little camera, but it was like kind of like all of our rarest games and all of our rarest boxes and stuff like that. And I think it was worth it now today.
Maddie, you go loose, right?
Yeah, I go loose. I do have. I mean, I have about 80 games that are boxed, but of those, only a handful of them were on purpose. Like I intentionally got all the Mega Man's boxed and Castlevanias and Dragon Warriors and Mario. But other than that, the box games I got were just because it happened. I won't pay a premium. Like I have a boxed Contra Force. I didn't pay a premium for the box Contra Force. It's just the way the deal worked out. That's how it happened. I would like to thank you guys so much for being on the podcast on behalf of myself, Mike, and Chris. We appreciate you guys taking the time out
Yeah.
to join us.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys. I had
Thanks so
fun.
much for having us.
Yeah, no problem.
I
You
don't-
guys are always.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank
Yeah.
you guys. I had fun.
Chris, do you have any closing thoughts?
Not really. Just fun podcast. Hopefully we get to do this again another time soon.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to thank everyone for being on the podcast, including my co-hosts. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. If you're still listening this far, it was our first podcast. Hopefully they just get better, smoother, funnier, more entertaining. Who knows? Less awkward, all of this stuff. So thank you guys so much, and have a great day, evening, night.
Adios, everyone.
Later.